Welcome to Notes from a Small, Cold, Dark, Miserable Island where we stand up for your right to wear shorts in the office 365 days a year.
Let's go.
I'm Mike.
I am Matt. This island, it ain't cold right now.
It's roasting. It's roasting.
And the real test of the keep calm and carry on ethos is being thrown at the English people right now, who are here in London, here in East London, are whining their faces off.
I know.
About how cold it is. On the parents'
Hot it is.
What'd I say? Cold? So hot that it's cold.
You're like conditioned.
Yep. On the parents' group text, when we got the announcement that they were going to do half days for the rest of the week, one of the dads chimed in with a "This is ridiculous!" exclamation point. Like, yes, keeping the children from being packed 30 deep into a single room and risking their health is ridiculous.
You know what? I was actually on that dad's side because I spent the last heat wave in 2022. I mean, there's been a few since then, with some kids in like 40 C heat in the house. People's houses are hot. Your flat must be hot, man.
But then that's your problem. It's not the state's problem.
Oh, crying out loud. I thought the state here was supposed to help us out. Yeah, we'll survive, though.
Yeah,
I think we'll survive. The prime minister won't survive, though.
Yikes.
This is fascinating because I think, as we touched on in explaining the political situation, it's completely different from the United States, where we have to wait 4 years or for an untimely death, or maybe in this case, a timely death. We'll see. And the guy just leaves. And there might not even be an election. There might not be even an election in the Labour Party if nobody comes to stand against Andy Burnham. How do you get a new leader? And can we please copy this in the United States? It's the will of the gestalt of the Labour Party will decide who the leader is.
Yeah, and at an indeterminate date.
Well, he has set out a timetable, but that is dependent on whether people will challenge him for the Labour Party leadership. And I think we should remind our listeners that, nobody of us necessarily, unless you're a Labour Party member, will have a vote. Only
Right.
party members will be able to vote on the prime minister. A very, very small number of people have decided, and it's been because there's been, 6 prime ministers recently, most of them have not been actually chosen by the electorate. It's quite an interesting situation.
We just allow these mini coups to
Yeah.
to happen within the party, and
again, I think maybe many listeners will be thinking that's a great system. Maybe we should try it. Should try it in some of them former colonies, hey?
So now Starmer, the lamest of ducks, hangs out,
Absolutely.
starts packing boxes
And
Checkers.
My prediction in our predictions episode has failed to come true.
No,
I thought nothing would happen.
I was wrong about the NBA Finals as well. I didn't put that on record. But
Yeah, and the people in New York are.
oh God, I'm sorry.
I know, like probably 50% of the audience of this program are New Yorkers. But sorry, guys. Like,
well, if anything, it does give.
I'm happy for you.
It does give clueless English people a new team to buy apparel for.
Yeah.
So we'll see an influx of Knicks gear, like Nirvana T-shirts.
That's true.
On people and be like, hey, name one player on the Knicks. So Knicks gear incoming in 2027.
Wow. Well, look, all of this is very germane because today we are joined by one of my former colleagues, Joey Durso, globetrotting journalist, an expert in both sports and politics. I mean, sport and politics. Joey's here to tell us all about the World Cup, which is happening, you may have noticed, right now. It's happening back in the homeland. Joey's recent book is called More Than a Shirt: How Football Shirts Explain Global Politics, Money, and Power. And the American title is the same, except I think it says soccer jerseys, not football shirts. Is that right?
It's actually not
Joey?
the same. It's identical. It was actually published in the US as of like a month ago, and I was in New York actually about 3 weeks ago. And it's in various shops. I saw it in Barnes & Noble, Union Square, which was very exciting. But it's just got the same name. It's cheaper for them to just, post the same version than.
I think maybe the terminology does translate a little bit.
Does it make sense? I think shirts does imply a sort of crisp a crisp something you wear with a suit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you should go into these Barnes and Nobles when you're on the road and just make sure that it's not being misfiled in the haberdashery section.
Yeah, tailoring.
Yeah, how was the vibe? Because we, both Matt and I, have not been in the homeland recently, but you have, and you've been around the football fans, the soccer fans. Were they stoked? Was it palpable?
Yeah, well, so I was there just coincidentally when Arsenal, the Champions League final, when Arsenal lost,
Didn't
of course,
do it.
but they'd just won the Premier League. And I walked, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I was sort of curious about the whole thing. And I walked past Spike Lee's bar in Brooklyn, which was Fancy Free, I believe it's called. And there was huge crowds outside at like 8 in the morning. And I watched it, and I saw shirts all over the place, like Real Madrid shirts, Arsenal, Liverpool. And I also did something I'd never done before. I've been to New York many times, but I walked the length of Manhattan just on my own, just like all a whole day. I'd always really wanted to do it.
Wow.
That's
So
a really cool.
So I took
task.
the subway to, I can't remember what it's called now, the very, very north of just across the Harlem River, and then walked for like all day to the Battery Park. And I was just taking it all in. There are lots of not just kind of advertisements on the side of the road, but like bars where they have inflatable balls up there and just these and more than that, like cages where people are clearly playing like pickup games and whatever else in the kind of Harlem and those places far from the tourist locations. It does seem like it's changing a bit.
So it is coming home.
Yeah, well, like
to our home.
the story of the US, it goes back longer than you think. In the late 19th century, there was quite a booming scene in like factories and whatever else, but the Wall Street crash just killed it.
Really, really, really.
Yeah.
And then did baseball then must have taken over because late 19th century is when baseball blossomed.
Yeah, I don't really know why baseball that clung on and soccer, football didn't. I guess maybe it just had like deeper roots, but it was just there was some really big. The big team was Clark ONT, Clark Our New Thread, which was like a clothing factory in New Jersey. That was the big team, but
again haberdashery.
Yeah, haberdashery. Yeah, but it was like wiped out by the crash, and that was it for 50 years.
That's fascinating. I notice, having gone to a couple of football matches, Chicago Fire, for instance, is like the immigrant communities often sort of prop up the local teams. So there'll be a huge Mexican contingent follows the Chicago Fire there. They sort of bring their own customs. But I mean, this could be. Everybody was talking back in the 90s. I mean, this is sort of probably predates to our consciousness here. But if not our lives,
Mike.
no,
I'm on record.
The World Cup. Do you remember the World Cup?
I remember the 94.
Do you? That hardly, to be honest, hardly registered in my.
Well, I mean, part of it is stamped because of this unfortunate commentator who was like propped up as the U.S. star back in '94, Mr. Lawless. And
Oh, yes.
he was sort of the face of things
Lawless.
back in '94. The less we say about him, the better. But
he called. Who did he call a full kit wanker?
Yeah, Wayne Rooney, like live on. I don't think he realised that's quite a rude word in England, but I guess in the US, no one knows what it means, so it's fine.
Oh, that's
him
so
getting
funny.
humiliated by his more esteemed panelists has been an ongoing clip show.
Sorry, was it Rooney or was it Thierry Henry and Zlatan? Sorry,
Thierry Henry and
Zlatan just rolling their eyes. Well, Zlatan is being outright rude and Henry is being cool.
This is awesome
about his sneak disses. Anyway, so yes, I remember '94. Okay, so '94, World Cup. More just in the U.S. though, not this whole.
It was just
whole
the US,
continent situation.
Yeah.
Well, the US has kind of done a heist with this World Cup. I mean, it's called Canada and Mexico, but like Canada are not even going to play their next game in Mexico. Sorry, Canada are playing their next game in LA because they finished second in the group. So the US has like 80% of the games and all the good ones, all the later stages.
We're going to have all the games. We're going to have all the good games.
Mike is finally debuting his Trump.
Didn't take long. I
think the thing that might actually inspire some people, and I hear from people who are not natural, like my family and stuff, who are like not natural football fans, some of them, and they're talking about it. But like part of the appeal is that it's been actually a good tournament, right? Like there's been tons of goals. We love the fucking scoring, right?
Loads of goals. And just the vibes are good. People are having a good time. I think I've seen some nice posts about, I certainly subscribe to this. I like visiting America. I love lots of places. I went to Texas 3 years ago. It's in the book. I loved it. I loved barbecue and all these things that maybe like if you are an American, you think are a bit like, I don't know, do people really want to just eat disgusting amounts of like meat and drive a massive car around? And it's like, yeah, that's cool to us. Like that's like that's like your version of kind of going to an Italian square and having a beautiful glass of wine. Like it's a different culture. It's an interesting culture, and it's really exciting and cool. And like maybe you guys forget that about yourselves.
I think that's a good point.
No, I
Yeah.
know. Well, this is the thing. If we get centering around hydration breaks, I think is a real big thing for me.
This is the Americanization.
The Americanization, but
Yeah,
also
they're bad.
like. So
Finally.
you're on the side of they're bad
I am, however,
because of history, because we don't want to change the game.
yeah, I think it's just this delicate thing, and the rules have basically been the same for like 120, 130 years, and it's become this popular. And if you meddle with it, there's a real chance you could kind of kill the golden goose, and it kills the flow. And I think a really big part of why it's popular is like tension, right? Like Morocco against Brazil was a good example. Morocco, the underdogs, were doing really well against Brazil. Brazil were like on the ropes, and then the hydration break comes, and then back to the default of Brazil being better. But the flip side is, one of the reasons there are more goals could be the hydration breaks, because if it's too hot, you get a little rest and then you have a bit more energy. So I'm against them, but who knows?
I have never met a British person so far. I mean, I haven't sort of done a huge poll here, but everybody is like so anti hydration breaks. And I have had some people point out to me specifically, oh, it's the American. I guess the conspiracy theory is that like Fox wants to show some commercials, right?
Yeah. Well, what are you? Are we anti-revenue? Are we against getting ad money?
Can't believe we're defending Fox Sports now, but we are
to pay the players more.
Yeah, it sounds a bit communist.
I saw this bit where like some English fans were at a World Cup match, and the hydration break came, and they're like, "Oh God, this is stupid." And then they are like, "Well, might as well use it." And then they go and get margaritas, and they're like, "You can get margaritas at the stadium?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's all these great food options at stadiums. Hot dogs with Fruit Loops on them, and
cost you a lot of money."
But also the thing of like,
is that a real thing?
Yeah, every the start of every baseball season, they always have these stories
I know
about
that,
like,
but
hey,
specifically the Fruit Loops.
Oh no, they always be putting dry breakfast cereal on hot dogs these days. Okay, so but less hamstring pulls. Like, do we not? Sports science is such a big thing now. The hydration break for I know it's bullshit. Air quotes hydration breaks, but these guys are running miles and miles and miles? Can we not give them some break? And isn't 22 minutes enough time for flow?
Well, I mean, I think it can go both ways. So there's an argument when they've started extending the half time. So I think in the most recent Champions League final, it was like 22 minutes rather than 15 because Coldplay wanted to get on and off the pitch. And like, that's actually not necessarily a good thing because of recovery times and if you wait too long. So it's like, I think the sports science is quite unclear with these things. But yeah, I mean, getting a margarita sounds good. I don't know. I mean, it's just like, it's a difference in what sport is. Like, it's in the US, it's like a luxury consumer experience. I went to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. It's unbelievable. It's like being on a sort of first-class airport lounge spaceship. Whereas a lot of English grounds, even the really famous ones, are kind of a bit horrible. And like, you have no leg room, and like the food is just not very nice. And like, that's kind of the charm of it. But it's come through these sort of working class communities and sort of factories and all these things. Whereas the US, it's come from the sort of capitalism, consumer products. So it's a very, very different culture. But a big part of that is a UK Premier League match. It's over in 2 hours. So you don't need to eat. You don't need to go to the toilet even maybe. Like, you don't really need facilities in the same way that if you're going to an NFL match with lots of stop and starts and it lasts so much longer, you want to be entertained, you want to eat well, you want to drink.
So yeah, like you don't want to be entertained. I mean, that's the main thing.
No. I went to one for the first time, actually in Madrid recently. I managed to get a freebie ticket for that from someone. And
the NFL game in Madrid.
Yeah, and I hadn't never, but I kind of enjoyed it. Like, it was cool. One thing that was like, obviously it's really complicated and I don't understand all the subtleties, but it's also really simple. Like, they're just trying to get it that way and then they're trying to get it that way. Like, I get that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there is a simplicity on top of the complexity, and you can kind of enjoy the simple without understanding the complex.
We did a whole sort of sport. I'm trying to be an ambassador. I'm a football fan, but also a football fan and baseball fan, and I enjoy a little bit cricket. But like the similarities, like if you understand the rules of rugby, you can sort of get the NFL and sort of vice versa, right? There's sort of what do they call them, like sporting branch family trees or whatever. But but like football kind of lives alone. It is the biggest spectacle. Um, and you know what? I think probably it's a good time to talk about your book, which I picked it up and I expected to learn about the game, but I actually learned a lot about global geopolitics in the 21st century. You snuck up on that one.
Yeah.
Uh, what? Tell us a little bit about sort of like what started you on this journey to, and it's sort of very widely traveled, and interestingly so, to investigate all of these stories about the football shirts um, of the world.
Yeah, so basically, the sort of the last 10 years of my career, I've been flicking between doing politics, whether that be, Westminster British politics, which I did, whether sort of social media stuff, which I did with you at the BBC, Mike, or and then football, which I covered for the Athletic, and sort of bouncing between those two worlds, and sort of never quite knowing which one I preferred, and then basically realizing, well, I can do both, or the sort of combination of the two, which is feels much more of a niche, and feels like I've got much more to say that other people aren't saying, and this idea that, well, the two are just completely fused now in a way that even 10, 15 years ago, I don't think the same conversation was being had. But if you look at this World Cup with Trump, you look at the previous one in Qatar, Russia and Putin, and lots of top clubs
Right.
around Europe being owned by oil states. I mean, it's just completely, it's a way of looking at the world in a slightly different way, I think. And, the first chapter is about the war in Ukraine, and a way of understanding that is through the shirt of Schalke in Germany, sponsored by Gazprom,
Hmm.
the Russian state oil company. And I just think shirts can be a way of understanding these things that are otherwise pretty sort of complicated or abstract. And yeah, it seems to, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, the Ukraine example is interesting. It's you go into various sort of industries, the rise, like you say, of the Middle Eastern powers. The World Cup is obviously a it, right now it is becoming a global power play where Donald Trump gets the FIFA Peace Prize or whatever it was.
Yeah.
um,
It beat
Can't
off
wait to
some
see
stiff
who gets the
competition.
next.
It was a very
Yeah.
competitive process.
But you know what? It doesn't seem, aside from a few stories about visas, referees from Somalia not being let in the country, it seems like politics is a little bit of a backseat so far in the tournament. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah. I was saying to someone yesterday, like, where's Trump? I'd forgotten about that guy.
Yeah.
What's he
I
up
did
to?
see RFK Jr. at the
Yeah.
last US match,
But I
sort
also,
of taking, who knows, supplements out in the
Mm.
luxury boxes.
But a similar thing happened in Qatar, right? And there's all those very pertinent questions about human rights, some pretty terrible things that have gone on there over the years. But as soon as the football starts, people want to talk about that. People want to talk about Messi and Mbappe, not like, whereas in the weeks before the tournament, and I did various media interviews about this because no one's got anything else to talk about. And now people are talking about the actual games. So it's like, I think, and that's what happens. And that's why it's so useful to politicians who want to, either sports wash is the word, but it's a very effective propaganda tool.
Politicians or activists will need to insert themselves. Like, you're going to need to go and actually do the protest. You're going to have to, if you're a politician, you're going to have to go and sort out the tickets and make sure that you're in a place so that when they put you on camera, they boo you very loudly. They will have to make an effort. I guess I'm a little interested, just at not having looked at your book, yeah, about U.S. uniforms didn't get any corporate sponsorship until long after it was a European thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So NFL, they don't have them, right?
No, just baseball and basketball. I don't know about the NHL, but that has come in the last 10 years with
And the
corporate
logos
sponsors.
are not sort of so prominent,
It's
aren't
not like,
they?
yeah, it's not the
No.
Arsenal. Like, I thought that team was called Emirates for a long time.
Which is, of course,
Um,
the basically a propaganda vehicle for an autocratic state in the Middle East. People kind of forget that when you say, "Oh, I live near the Emirates Stadium" or whatever. It's sort of just part of the geography of London, and it's literally, yeah, it's Dubai's state airline, and Dubai does a lot of bad things.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you trace this though in the book, the origins of it. Remind us of the story. It happened almost sort of randomly somewhere in the middle of England where people started to put
Yeah.
names on shirts.
So it was early 70s, and Don Revie's. Have you ever seen the film The Damned United? It's that sort of era
Michael
of Lee
Sheen.
and Brian Clough.
Good film.
Great film. But Don Revie, who's the sort of heroic Leeds manager, they were training in like a park. Back in those days, it was so much less glamorous. They were just training in a park. And this guy from Admiral, the sportswear manufacturer, he had a meeting nearby and it wasn't a success. And then he just saw all these players and he was like, we make sports kit. Do you want, we could do it for you. Like, I don't know if any money changed hands. It was just like, you wear our logo, we give you some free kit. And that was kind of that. Before that, it was just made in-house. It was all very ad hoc. These big teams won big trophies, but there was no real sort of thought behind it. And then when that went really well, and then, everyone started doing it and they started selling the Leeds replica shirts in shops. And then everyone was like, wow, we're leaving money on the table here. But that was sort of very humble beginnings. And it took sort of 25, I'd say, until the sort of mid and late 90s before this got kind of ruthlessly commercialized.
I am really surprised, actually, that American sports teams don't sort of copy this, because everything, as you know, is so commercialized around U.S. sports. You are just bombarded with advertisements all the time when you before you walk into the stadium.
Yeah.
And but the
walk in.
shirt, they don't replace Dodgers with I don't know,
Jammy Dodgers.
Whataburger.
Yeah, so it's been relegated to just the patches, the upper corner patches thus far.
Nobody can read from far away.
But then when you get the close up,
I do know the reason, which is that it's the same reason why international shirts at the World Cup don't have them, and it's because FIFA don't want companies competing with their own sponsors. So they got loads of money from Aramco, from Visa, from Coca-Cola to sponsor the World Cup. They're all over the billboards. And if, England against Ghana both had a big logo on them for whatever, that would sort of detract from the value of their own sponsorships. And it might be a similar thing in the NFL. But they have all these adverts everywhere, and if you had shirt ones, the other ones would lose their value.
I have seen some crazy stuff. For instance, in SoFi Stadium, all of the Heinz
it's not
ketchup.
SoFi. You can't call it SoFi Stadium.
Oh, you can't call it SoFi Stadium
the
for
Bay
one
Area
thing.
Stadium, I think is
That one's the LA Stadium. What's the Bay?
Levi, not Levi's.
Levi,
yeah.
not Levi Stadium, not the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta.
My friend
Atlanta
actually
Stadium.
was at the Mercedes-Benz last night, Morocco against Haiti in Atlanta. And I said, because I was interested, I was like, look out for Mercedes ads and like send me pictures. And he was like, they've done such a good job. And he sent me these pictures of like white stickers over things absolutely everywhere.
In SoFi Stadium, there's black tape over the Heinz ketchup bottles.
Yeah. Great.
To black out the Heinz, because Heinz isn't an official
Heinz
sponsor.
redacted.
Oh, it's crazy. But, aside from all the commercial sponsorships, the teams, I suppose we should also talk about the actual action, right? Team USA is doing pretty well. Has played two kind of mediocre sides so far and like crushed them. But it's all right. England, shaky performance last time, but by the time people listen to this, they may have turned it around or not. We'll see. How do you see this playing out? Do you have any predictions?
Predictions is the teams that win often start badly. So Argentina lost against Saudi Arabia in 2022. Spain lost against Switzerland in 2010 when they won the whole thing. So one shaky performance in the group stage doesn't necessarily mean like England and Spain and Brazil have all had bad performances. So I think that as an Englishman, you've got to always believe it's coming home and then be brutally disappointed. So I'm going to run with that.
Awesome. You're remaining loyal. That's good.
Any outlier squads or,
USA.
Okay.
Like, they look really good.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of, you'd probably expect them to get out of that group, but they absolutely blew away Paraguay and were so dominant against Australia. I mean, impressive. Let's see. Yeah, and I think it's slightly up in the air still, but they could get quite an easy route to the maybe quarterfinals. So, and they'd surely massive underdogs against one of the big European teams or South American teams, but they could definitely get to the quarterfinals. Yeah, a one-off game, it's a low-scoring sport. Strange things can happen.
I think they would be pretty pleased with quarterfinals.
Mexico just cleared their group.
Mexico's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange group, that one. It's sort of no one looked particularly good in it. And South Africa have qualified, which is pretty cool because they looked really dead and buried, and then they beat South Korea. So, Mexico. I mean, it's great for the tournament, right? Having the host doing well. It just means it's all a big party. Like in Qatar last time, they were just so awful and just lost every game really badly, and it's a bit of a shame. So I think it's good for Canada going through, although not actually playing in Canada anymore. So that's just good for everyone, I think, if the hosts do well.
The U.S. Australia game is one I really sort of started to notice that Americans were just going crazy. The crowd was like on fire. You could even tell on television that people were just so into it in that game in Seattle.
The
Yeah,
American football fan, the American global football fan, the fan of the sport that they call soccer, who lives in America, is generally, to stereotype, is generally like a cool guy, like a cosmopolitan. Like when you see somebody rocking a shirt in a city, you're like, that guy probably reads. That guy, pays attention to world politics. That guy's probably got groovy opinions. So I think and they are not served by the traditional sports ecosphere, and so I
Which
think
is typically what more like macho and
yeah, you
yeah,
might even check out a
Bud
NASCAR
Light.
race, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, the every 4 years or the every 2 years, depending on what's going on with the Olympics and whatnot. Yeah, I feel like it's this, nerdy athlete, nerdy jock, pent up. I'm really ready to let it rip for my favorite sport, and so hopefully that's a bit of what we're seeing, with the U.S. World Cup supporters,
I,
and
I
maybe
I
they'll
think
organize a little protest while they're there.
I think you're right, and like you guys, are the Americans, but I get the sense that's kind of changing, and in sort of small town America, in sort of red state America, it's becoming a lot more popular, and it's nowhere near NFL whatever, but it's like it's not just the sort of fixed wheel bike hipsters anymore. It's like getting much bigger than that.
And you wrote a recent Substack, which people can find. We'll put the link in the show notes about the safety considerations of the NFL, of American football, the concussion issue, and how that has perhaps drawn more players to, or parents sort of pushing their kids to play soccer instead of football, to use the American terms, and then the popularity of football, European football, um, it rises in correspondence, right?
We
Like
can do
safety
soccer
the
and football. It
concern.
makes it easier. Yeah, you're not offending me. It's fine. So
Yeah,
yeah, but
so
you're right. Yeah, I just had this conversation with a guy in New York who was saying, I don't know if his own kids or sort of nephews or nieces or whatever, who was saying, yeah, well, the parents are not wanting their kids to play American football anymore because of this terrible stuff about head injuries, and it's incredibly overwhelming evidence now that turns out that running headfirst into people
and
at
and
incredibly high
launching your
speeds,
body.
yeah, and the helmets actually make things worse because it means you can like withstand these massive forces that you could never withstand with your unprotected head. So yeah, it's pretty bad in it. And I think one of the reasons, there's many reasons why soccer is so popular and so big around the world. It's simple and easy to understand. You don't really need expensive equipment, but also it's safe.
Mm.
Like, and there have been rare, you can get terrible knee injuries or whatever else. But in terms of like life and death, like it's extremely rare for a life and death injury. And in lots of other sports, cricket, rugby, ice hockey, NFL, like really bad injuries do happen pretty regularly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and so it comes down to because I'm such a big flag waver for basketball, which also doesn't require much equipment. You're just out there, in your shorts and shirt and one round ball. Yeah, these sports that level the playing field, pun pun acknowledged, with just kids and a single ball, and figure out a way to do it that's yeah, you're gonna blow out a knee from running so much, but nobody's carrying any weapons or trying to murder anybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Though the header, I will say, like, after reading that Substack of yours, Joey, and then watching the next match I watched, and just, the 2 dudes leaping in the air and both simultaneously whiplashing their heads in the exact same direction, that definitely gave me the yikes.
Yeah, I mean, and heading, and there's been, the England 1966 World Cup winning squad. They've basically all but Jeff Hurst, who scored the hat trick in the final, famously, have died, and several of them have dementia, and like it's pretty bad. Like, I don't think there's an autopsies and stuff, but there's a lot of evidence now that those guys, a lot of them developed dementia through CTE, through heading, and that was because back in the day the ball was heavy, it was made of leather. When it got wet, it would be like heading a brick, and I think it's different now. The balls are lighter and whatever else, but
Porous.
yeah, but it's not good, and I think football, soccer is not immune to these criticisms. And there's a
Yeah,
lot of talk about, particularly like young children. I think they're basically banning heading now, or
yeah,
very
yeah,
heavily
yeah.
restricting it to like a certain number a week, because obviously your
You,
sprain is so much more delicate.
I definitely have heard that, or when my own children have sort of had to go, no heading until age
Mm.
14 or something like this. I don't know. Um,
Wow, it's like, when can I get a phone?
when
When can
can
I
I
head
head the
it?
ball, Dad?
When's my first
Surely
kiss?
when you're not looking, they're just in the garden every time doing heading.
You
You're
come back from the evening, and the like kid is secretly out there
like a
heading.
little bit dazed.
Yeah.
You've been heading behind the bike shed again.
Yeah.
um, for our listeners who maybe this is the first World Cup they have experienced in Britain, um, ho- what's the best way to sort of get involved? I mean, I always think going to the pub, and I've sort of been hanging out at the local pub, although. Going to the night before we record this to the pub to see Scotland was
Oof,
quite an adventure.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. God, I watched that
is
on the
that the
sofa, but that was they were
that
terrible.
that could have been 7-0.
There was about 50 really, really we stepped into the pub about 2 minutes into the match, and it was like stepping into the like the final if it went to a penalty shootout. That's how nervous the energy was at the beginning of that match among some random Scottish people in West London. Um, People were like, Get out of the fucking way, man, get out of the fucking way." Like, whoa. And then that was even before they just got hideously thrashed. Um, then that experience aside,
Yeah.
would you suggest to your local American to check out the pub, fan zones, just get yourself invited to a party? What is the
Yeah.
classic watching experience?
Yeah, but yeah, either a pub or or someone's house. Yeah, I don't think it's too kind of complicated really. But yeah, getting down a pub's always a good one. I noticed that I've seen pubs being like, "Do not come. We're at capacity. Tickets only. We are going to turn everyone away." Like it's a big deal, and pubs are going to be
Yeah,
full, and people will be quite rowdy. And if you don't want like beer spilt on your small child or whatever, then maybe like don't go to the pub. But like it's a big deal. Like if people are new, and also because the last one was in Qatar in the winter, which made it all a bit strange. Like it was freezing outside. It's the first Summer World Cup for 8 years, which is a long time. And like, but also the group stage is like a weird sort of warm up act, right? Like England
Yeah,
are going to get through the groups. People knew that. People like the Ghana thing was disappointing, but fundamentally not a huge deal. Whereas every knockout game is like a massive, massive deal. And England are genuinely like among the favourites to win the World Cup. I'm not saying they will, but like it is plausible. And like if England, they'll almost certainly get through this round of 32 game, which will be against a sort of smaller country probably. Then from that, the stakes are really, really high, and it's like a big. And if people are new to this country, it'll be like the biggest thing you've seen, like in your time here by such a long way. Like it's huge, and
nice.
there's nothing really comparable because like the club game is like obviously everyone supports different clubs, and like Arsenal had their huge parade, but like the majority of people in London were like, "Oh, we hate Arsenal. We hope it rains," kind of thing. Whereas
100%.
like the World Cup is like everyone's on the same side for once, you know?
yeah. It'll slowly ramp up. It's so exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited for England. I'm excited for the U.S. Leaving geopolitics aside. I'm
You
excited
don't
for
need to
Mexico,
apologize for
the
your president to
Canadians.
cheer on your team.
We
I
d-
think that's
we
like
always have to.
a very sacred
We're
thing.
on a
Like
constant apology tour here.
no, that's kind of. I think that's tiring for everyone else. Just wave your flag and have a good time.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
I
Joey,
give you
what's a
permission. I give you permission.
Joey, for the hardcore fan, I was wondering like whether this time is a fantastic time, like because you could spend 8 hours a day just lining up matches, even though the time zone makes it challenging. Like U.S. Turkey is 3 a.m. tonight,
Yeah,
and I know you say like these are warm up, and a lot of them are sort of given results, or at best Curacao is going to get a draw, and like wow,
Oh yeah,
but
Curacao.
is it a fun time for you? Are you sort of marathoning matches, or are you just picking and choosing and getting some rest?
oh yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, annoyingly, I am quite a morning person, and if I work best in the morning and sort of fade out by mid afternoon. So like the 3 a.m. games, I just really struggle with that. Like I wish I was someone who could stay up till 4 a.m. and then sleep and then just work all afternoon and evening, but it's just not my vibe. So I just sort of am missing those ones. But like I think later on, I will just watch them and take the hit. But yeah, I absolutely love it. Like, I could just watch it all day, every day. Like, particularly, I think now we're in this sort of funny group stage last round where it's a bit lower stakes, but any knockout game is thrilling. No matter if it's the two most obscure countries ever, it's great. And like, I just want to watch it all.
The spirit is obviously maybe even more so than the Olympics because it's one specific sport and it's the most popular sport. Yeah, the spirit that the nation's fans bring, even even if they had these issues getting in, is wholly unique to the World Cup from my spectator's point of view.
Yeah, I always wish the Olympics was a week longer. It's too short and it's hard to follow. And especially if it's in a bad time zone, it's like, and if you're working, it's just, wow, as soon as you tune in, it's all done. So yeah, that's my advice to the Olympic Committee. Make it 3 weeks, not 2.
Yeah, and also we
Make it
should
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's supersize this bastard.
Yeah, just have like 3 things on a day and I'll watch them all. But like, if
I think from the English perspective, I think we should then always root for like an Oceania, Australia, New Zealand hosted event so that we can have things going on when we wake up in the morning and then finish at a decent hour.
Yeah, well, so that's quite an interesting point when it comes to football, English football, soccer in the US. It's really helped by the fact it's on in the mornings. Whereas like in East Asia, it's the middle of the night. But like people wake up on a Saturday or Sunday and they're at home and they just watch it while making breakfast. And I think that's really helped. And the Premier League breakfasts are like a big marketing thing over there. So like the time of the day, I think makes a massive difference because people are kind of generally at home on a weekend morning,
100%. And that's that cosmopolitan cool guy definitely is going to the
Definitely.
Abbey
Picking up some
Pub at
bagels.
Chicago for those. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah, classic.
He's not having 8 pints at 7 a.m.
Maybe not. Maybe 4, but
Yeah.
Of a premium IPA.
And then bed and then a little snooze or just, I can't keep going. If I have 4 pints in the morning, Americans take beer like
American
so
beer.
seriously, more seriously than like Europeans.
Oh, really? Really?
Like the sort of IPA. Yeah. I was in New York and I went to this craft bar and there's like a menu. And I was like, weird? Wow, really?
you should check out the weed scene, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's not my thing, but it's everywhere.
But as far as something being like broken down into the chemistry of it and explained to you by an overeducated hipster, yeah.
It's everywhere
Listen.
in New York now. It's crazy. It's like,
This is the
yeah,
American tendency. Take things, expand them, segment
supersized.
them,
So many
sell them back to the
markets.
world.
Yeah, in so many varieties. How many different Pop-Tart flavors can we make?
We invented football, by the way.
Should we get? I know we'll link to your Substack and everything, but I absolutely delighted by the one that breaks down what is the historical significance of every single group stage match. Do you have any? You want to just talk about that project and then highlight a couple favorites?
Yeah. So it's something I'd been sort of thinking about for a while. I mean, so making a political link between every match in the World Cup and, France and Senegal, England against Ghana, that's pretty obvious. That's a colonizer against the colonized. And there genuinely is a bit of resonance there. I think for Ghana, it's like a massive deal getting a point against England. But for other ones, you have to try a bit harder and the links are pretty tenuous. I think Saudi Arabia against Cape Verde, they're both massive desalinators. So like, so they don't have fresh water.
Yeah.
And they are huge on the desalination scene.
Yeah. What does the hydration break really signify in that one?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's water from the sea turned into fresh water. Austria against Jordan was another tenuous one. The link there was like an Austrian guy gets shot in Sarajevo in 1914. The Archduke Franz Ferdinand kicks off a chain of events that lead to the First World War. The First World War, the empires collapse all over the world. Austro-Hungarian, Russian, German, and the Ottoman Empire. And through the ashes of the Ottoman Empire, the Brits draw up a new country, the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. So as I said, tenuous, but you can get there if you try hard enough.
You could turn it into a mocking chant if you have a PhD.
I feel like the one thing that is going to if the U.S. were to play Iran, and I don't know what we are
I think that's
at
not
this
going to happen now.
It's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, so very unlikely. Okay, so that would be the big one. Although I suppose further on down the line there could be other sort of geopolitical things that sort of throw up. The host. It doesn't look like the hosts will face each other either.
Well, they could in like the semi-final. If they get really far, then anyone can kind of host anyone, but not for a while.
Yeah, looking perhaps unlikely. I mean, a USA-Mexico match would be just
well, it's so hard to predict now in this
crazy.
new format because there's the third place teams. It's all very complicated. It used to be very simple. It was just the top two, and then there's which is why it makes sense to expand it to 64. It would be much easier than 48. But
Yes. Now you're talking. Now you're talking 64 matches over 8 countries, with 80% of the matches in the United States.
yeah.
Yeah! Goal!
What's it? I believe that we will win.
Oh,
That is-
yeah.
That is so lame. Sorry.
A little on the nose.
Well, look, it's been a great tournament. It will continue, hopefully, to be a great tournament. Thank you for telling us all about it, Joey Durso. Joey's book, More Than a Shirt: How Football Shirts Explain Global Politics, Money, and Power. It is really fascinating. If you are interested in politics, if you're interested in sport, if you're interested in both, you should buy it twice. Thanks so much, Joey.
Thanks for having me.
I didn't get to actually go over this during the interview, but actually I saw a high-level football match with Joey about 5 years ago. It was the 2020 Euro competition.
Held in 21.
Held in 2021 because of COVID. We caught a semifinal at Wembley Stadium, and Joey D'Urso in Italian is the Bear. Like the restaurant or the television show.
In the beef restaurant in fictional Chicago. So it's Joey the Bear.
Joey the Bear was
Joey
supporting
the Bear.
Italy versus Spain in the semifinals of the Euros. It was a very spirited match at Wembley Stadium. The Italian fans were up for it. The Spanish fans were going crazy. Italy won that in a penalty shootout, if I recall.
Terrible way to
that we witnessed.
High level match.
And it is like, can you imagine the NBA being like, all right, free throws, yeah.
Or a slam dunk contest.
Yeah, slam dunk would be even better. Ooh, 4.3. Yes, and Italy went on to win that tournament. They're not in the World Cup this time, though. We shall see. We shall see how the action proceeds. I think that's it. If you can email us, you can tell us your own predictions for the World Cup. We'll probably they'll probably end up being wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no offense on you, dear listener.
A lot of nations.
It's just the fact that
hard to guess.
It's big. It's big.
Cold Dark Miserable Pod at gmail.com is where you can contact us with your ideas and your interjections.
And I think that's it for this week.
Well, no, it's not, Mike. Come on. We've been doing this for months. You know that I know,
I'm just pretending.
To pull back the curtain. Well, I wanted for this, once every 4 years occasion and, once a generation on U.S. soil to give us something that is like the intersection of America and England, something epic and sweeping, but also totally trashy and sold out.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So I bring to you this musical accompaniment to our World Cup episode with apologies to Will Ferrell and Neil Leslie Diamond. I did not bring a string section with me, so I will have to replicate them with the power of my voice. Are you ready?
Hit it.
Cold, dark, miserable island. That's the strings. Cold, dark, miserable island. Cold, dark, miserable island. Cold, dark podcast. Dee-doo-dee-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo, ank, ank, dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-dee-dee, dee-doo-dee-doo-dee. Balls! Special cup full of balls! Rules are sensitive, y'all! Don't touch the balls! Goals! Hopefully there'll be goals! The goals more goals than your foes, though there will be draws. 47 football squads. Hey, I said football. They're cupping in America. Hope no one ruptures a quad. Don't trust healthcare in America. Key change. FIFA's bribes turned out all right. So they're cupping in America. Visa fees, high ticket price. Jet fuel to get you to America today. Doo-doo-dee-doo, literally today. Dee-doo-dee-doo-dee. Today in the World Cup, the U.S. tries to close out Group D against Turkey as Germany, the defending champions, Japan and Sweden. Today, my country, 'tis of thee. Today, open for the right fee. Today, God save the king. Remember, no kings today. Dee-doo-dee-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo. Turn on your heart light.